Hey guys, it's me, Philip, again, coming at you with another superhero drawing. This is day 4 in a row, hoping to reach 5 before I take a break. Right now we're looking at the preview of the image you got coming at you. Normally I try to show you the best part of the image, where I think I did the best job in terms of technique and skill, to kind of wet your whistle and make you want to come along on this journey with me. Today I did something a little different. I'm showing you the part of the drawing that took about 74 tries to finally get right. Even then, this is kind of a mid-section towards it. But we're going to start the drawing for real now. Right now we're using a base that I took from a Jim Lee drawing. Again, in the attempt to... I was going to try to do an uncomplicated image today to cut myself some slack, since this is day 4 in a row. But as you'll see when we get towards the end, this drawing became very, very complicated. And again, I'm delighted that I think it turned out so well. Once again, you can kind of see the things I've learned since I was a kid, these construction lines that help me line out the image as well as it is, instead of just kind of jumping in and hoping for the best. Right now you're going to see that's the image that I'm taking from. As you can see, it's a drawing of modern Wonder Woman by Jim Lee. And I'm going to throw a little twist on it. Instead of drawing the particular image, I'm a big fan of juxtaposition, so I'm going to draw that Wonder Woman in the style and in the outfit of the original 1940s Wonder Woman. That way it's not I'd rather not completely copy somebody else's work. That's good practice, but these videos are an attempt by me to get better and to hone my craft. So I have to do something in each video to make it stand out and be a little more, take a little more effort, just step outside my comfort zone. One of the best managers I ever worked for in retail told me about a concept called the 1% rule, where you just try to do 1% better each time you do something. And it's pretty easy to do 1% each day, but it aggregates. Here's the hair. That was a Bruce Timm drawing, and I'm using that particular style of hair to go with this Wonder Woman, trying to capture that 1930s, 1940s hairstyle. This is the first attempt at the face. She looks kind of like Katharine Hepburn to me. The positioning and everything was off the rails. And again, at this point, I haven't decided how cartoony I want to go with the face, because I don't know how cartoony the image is going to go. That's a fairly cartoony face. I think as it goes along, unfortunately, the face sticks to kind of a cartoony, I borrowed Bruce Timm's hairstyle, and I'm going to end up probably borrowing more from his face than I wanted to try to make that look. And here you see I'm about to give it more of a Betty and Veronica style, big lips, and it looks a little more like Cher now. But yeah, part of the reason I'm glad I have this particular process on video is because it took a lot of tries to get that face right. Right now I'm doing start off trying to draw big fat stars on her skirt, and then I realized, juxtaposed with that, I made the skirt bigger than it should have been to make it more dramatic and to stand out. And so I thought, well, then in that case, let's do the opposite with the stars. Let's have 1,000,000 stars on there. This image would have looked pretty good with those lines I had drawn if they'd have been Wonder Woman's golden lasso of truth. But instead I decided to go a different way with it. In this image here, you can see Wonder Woman busting chains, and I thought that's kind of a cool idea. The only thing was the designing, planning, drawing of the chains took a lot of energy. Took way more focus than I thought it was going to, and as a result, I've sped up. Anytime I'm working on the chains, I've got the speed going at about 15 times speed, just so you don't have to sit there with me as I work on every single link in that chain. Again, I've learned from my last couple of videos to not rely so heavily on the pens, especially that brush. I really like, it's called the SS brush, and it just flows so smooth, and you can cover a lot of ground real quick with it. But I've learned, looking at that Spider-Man Dr. Octopus drawing from yesterday, that it's probably a good idea to save that brush for areas that are actually black, like her hair and the sheen on her boots. Here's me going back and forth again and again, trying to get that neck. That whiteout pen is a godsend. I found that at Walmart, and I realized if I had a pen like that, I could correct inking mistakes in the moment. It's kind of a double-edged sword, though, because it doesn't quite liquid paper it. It creates kind of a crusty finish. So by the end of the image, after I've used it on Wonder Woman's lips a dozen times, it created a rough terrain to try to use a pencil. And so I had to think of something else to go with it. And then it led the whole drawing into a whole different area, which I think was a really nice surprise. Here I mess up by putting too much black on her lip, and I'm going to have to... That looks pretty good as it is. I think I probably go back and try to overcorrect and make a mistake. I realize in this particular image, less is going to be more when you're drawing her upper body. You don't want to put a whole lot of lines and muscles and everything. It kind of... it ruins the over... You want her to have more of a lithe body, not necessarily bodybuilder. It's kind of like... I'm generally a fan, I've mentioned before, of Gary Frank, who draws Superman with a physique that looks kind of like just a tall, normal man's physique. He doesn't draw him all hulked out and muscular because he's like, well, his powers aren't physical, so he doesn't need to have the Hulk's or Arnold Schwarzenegger's frame. And I feel kind of the same way about Wonder Woman, even though she's got, planet-smashing powers. She has a secret identity where she goes in disguise as a normal human, so her frame needs to be more normal. And again, the name of the game this video seems to be juxtaposition. I like the idea of a normal-looking person doing amazing things tends to seem more remarkable to me than someone who, looks like they could punch through a brick wall. I will admit Wonder Woman's a character I don't have a ton of experience with, either drawing or reading. She's one of the 3 surviving DC characters to make it through the comic book witch hunts in the 1950s and the collapse of the industry. Her, Batman, and Superman were the only Golden Age heroes to really survive with an unbroken streak into the modern day. So that makes her, Batman, and Superman what they call the Trinity of DC Comics. And I always like her as a sort of a bridge between the two of them. She has powers, strength of a god, just like Superman, but she's also a trained warrior like Batman. So she understands the juxtaposition, again, of having strength and also having to work to master it. I like her as kind of not necessarily a mediator, but there's a comic by Darwin Cook, DC The New Frontier, probably has the best, certainly my wife's and mine, favorite version of Wonder Woman, as this 7-foot tall Amazonian warrior. And that particular version is a peacemaker. Again, juxtaposition. She's a big, strong woman, but she's very much a peacemaker. In the preview materials, the prelude that Darwin Cook did, he told the story of when Batman and Superman first met and fought, kind of like you would see in the Dark Knight Returns or Batman versus Superman movie, and it's Wonder Woman is the one who breaks up the fight and kind of kicks them both in the head and says, "What are you doing? You should be on the same side, you idiots." I kind of like the idea of Wonder Woman being a character that sort of sees through the BS, busting chains metaphorically and realistically, chains of old thinking and what have you. But now I've got, again, I learned from watching myself do these old videos that honestly less is more. So you can see me really restraining myself with the colored pencils and the pens and everything. I added, in an attempt to fix her lips, I had to use a red magic marker, and it made her lips stand out so much that I took this orange and put it over the bit of whiteout on her neck that wouldn't take a colored pencil. And so I added it through her entire body, and it created this great sort of backlit, like you can imagine, a sunset behind her. If I was a more accomplished artist, I would have finished the entire drawing and had a sunset going over her right side, casting that halo of light along her. And then to kind of keep that orange from standing out too much, I take a blue magic marker and work it on the skirt. But here we go, guys. This is a picture I'm really proud of. It's a combo of a lot of different artists put together, and I think it really stands out as one of my best works for this particular channel. Again, my wife is a huge fan of Wonder Woman, and again, I fully expect to see this hanging in our daughter's bedroom one day. But remember to like and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching, guys. Here's the references, a little collection. Maybe you could take them yourself and try to do your own version of this with these particular artist prompts.